English with an erudite. English lessons, Magic Garden series and other materials. Hello, this is Jolanta from the YouTube channel English with an Erudite. You can also find me on Instagram. I have always been really passionate about nature, about plants and animals. I find them absolutely fascinating. Today I'm going to show you the birds which visited my garden in winter some time ago. It was a real winter back then. The material was recorded for a television series. As usual, the video is with subtitles in several languages. You can also find the key vocabulary in the description box below. I started watching birds when I was 6 or 7, probably even younger. We had a simple wooden bed table made by my father, and the table was situated in front of the kitchen window. Unfortunately, at that time we gave the birds only dry pieces of bread, breadcrumbs and unsalted lard. I remember that the dominating species then was the sparrow, and to be honest, I don't see sparrows anymore, or hardly any sparrows nowadays. Sometimes the bed table was visited by grey tits, and it was really an incredible treat for all of us. As you can see yourselves now, the situation has changed out of recognition where I live. At present, the avifauna is incredibly rich. I suppose there are quite a few factors which have resulted in such a noticeable change. One of them is probably the closure of large chemical factory which used to be here for many decades, and it really polluted the atmosphere. Another reason might be the fact that I have transformed my father's orderly vegetable garden into wildlife friendly ornamental one, in which I try to create a small habitat for all sorts of creatures. I have also been feeding birds better. I no longer give them any bread at all. I feed them mainly with sunflower hearts, because that's the type of food which most of them prefer. That's my observation anyway. I give them pieces of apples, occasionally some dry fruit and nuts. At the time the video footage for a TV series about wildlife was made, I had 8 feeders, as you can see, 8 feeders of different types. And they were situated on 3 sides of the house, as I wanted to avoid overcrowding. Nowadays, for various reasons, I have only 3 feeders, I start feeding the birds much later than I used to. In recent years, I've started in December because I don't want to tempt the birds which should migrate south. I don't want to tempt them into staying here. There is no doubt that since the video was made, our winters have become rather mild, but with sudden cold and snowy spells, which birds such as robins are unable to survive because they are unable to find food under a thick layer of snow. I usually stop feeding in March, late March, but in fact the decision depends on the weather, so I am quite flexible about it. Those of you who have seen some of my other videos, the videos about my garden, you might have noticed that my garden is wildlife friendly, and my goal is to provide natural food and shelter for wildlife all year round. There are old fruit trees, dense bushes and climbers in my garden. I grow over 130 roses, most of which are bee friendly. I also have nest boxes for starlings, grey tits and blue tits, and I'm really proud that every summer swifts nest in the nest boxes which are on the wall of the house. So I and my family and my neighbors, we always wait for the beginning of May because we wait for the swifts to arrive at the nest boxes. The bird species that visit my garden in winter vary, and each year is a little bit different. I must say this particular winter I haven't seen many birds at the feeders yet, but this morning I was so happy when I was working in the garden and there were a few long-tailed tits looking for food, foraging for food, just 1 meter or so from my feet. So it was really lovely. And about 15 years ago, I didn't have any idea that such birds even existed. So the first time I saw them, I thought they were some exotic birds which had escaped from somebody's aviary. So long-tailed tits are regular visitors in my garden, both in the winter and in the summer. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I encourage you to watch my other videos. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.